just want everybody to come together as one, as a unified collective. And we're going to give it over to our MC in a moment. And I just wanted to welcome you all to the Astoria Mansion. I say Astoria Mansion because this is where I live. I am a Astoria resident here, and I represent this community with the people that are behind the scenes. You're going to meet many of them today. So we don't do this alone. We don't do this alone. So I feel that we're all superstars in this community, and I call it the Astoria Mansion because I feel that we should be respected as superstars, and we bring it together as one because we can't do anything alone. There's no I in team. So with that being said, I hope you be inspired by today, and we're gonna, we're just gonna get started, okay? Because we want to value everyone's time. So I'll have the MC come forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Awesome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. It's a beautiful day, so you kind of wonder. It's like, why don't we just go out and just enjoy brunch and just relax and not come out to remind local leaders that they still haven't turned on the cooking gas? The reason is because the fact that we have a species of people, those who have the luxury to go out and enjoy their day and don't have to live with subpar habitable conditions, is the very indication that we need to come out in the first place. So this is a message to all the elected leaders who are paid with our tax dollars that you're still not doing your job. We're human beings, okay? Human beings who have brains that can think of stuff. We have hearts that allow us to understand empathy. We can exercise compassion if we understand our feelings. We have these bodies, these muscles that can build stuff and create stuff. And with all these tools in our disposal, still we have a situation where billionaires in the world suck up billions of dollars of our resources, and then good people in our world go home without cooking gas. How did we as a species get here? How is this the landscape of living? So we're here to remind elected leaders again, there is nothing inspiring about taking care of the material comforts of those who are most well off among us. What's inspiring is when we work together, we use our minds and our hearts and our bodies to build and to serve those who are least fortunate among us. And you can say whatever you want about resources and your gross domestic product and inflation and whatever. Stop with that. This is all a matter of political will. You can print the money to fix the problems in NYC. It is there. You can do it. The only reason you don't is because there's no political will. It can happen. So if understanding that isn't enough, if it would help to hear the stories of those who are living it, great. That's exactly why we're here, to remind you. And we'll be here every single month reminding you of the stories until the problems get fixed. So let's hear the boots on the ground experience of those who have to deal with this, stunted mind growth that we as human beings are exercising with. Let's hear the product of what that results in. Here we have a tenant from Astoria Houses who literally is living without his cooking gas. Let's hear his story. Ford, come on up. Bring it.
How are y'all doing today? I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous to speak today, but I'm going to tell you. It's been about 3 months since we had cooking gas to cook our food with. A long time we've been getting updates and stuff to keep us distracted. But I want to know when we're going to have our cooking gas back on. Because it's been a long time. And they've been, also my grandmother has been putting tickets in to get her apartment fixed. And they say it will take about 3 months, but they haven't been here for like 6. 6 months, just about a month ago, our bathroom was falling apart. It took them about a month to fix it. Then after it was fixed, the sink just fell out the wall, almost crushed my foot. I wasn't fast enough to dodge it. Basically, that's all I want to know. When is the cooking gas going to be turned back on? Because it's about time we get our fair treatment in this apartment. Come. We can go on about politics, we can go on how we hate each other, but at the end of the day, we all got to live in the same apartment building. If we're going to have rich people who live in these high-scale apartment buildings in Manhattan getting fair treatment, what about us? They make thousands of dollars a month, $1 million a year, but they don't give a shit about the middle class. You know, what about us? What we gonna do? They're living in the high life right there. Like, we don't have $1,000 to pay for our rent, to pay off, get our apartments fixed. We don't make $1 million to go on vacations to Hawaii, Canada, any other country around the world. We don't have that. We don't have the luxury to do that. They do. All I want to know is when we're gonna get fair equal treatment to get our apartments with cooking gas. That's all I want to know. And that's all I have to say today. Thank you.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
Turn the damn gas on, nicer.
Yeah. Listen, if anything, Ford makes a perfect example of something that elected leaders and just overall money people just don't seem to get. This imagination about, oh, we need capital or markets, gross domestic product. No, you build a stable society not with your capital, not with your gross domestic product. You build stable society with your gross domestic happiness. If we measured our success in how happy are our people, how brave can they be to come up and speak, how well do they get along, that's stable society. That's a government that works. That means we have a world that functions well and we have a good time. You go to bed like this, today was a good day. That was nice. If everybody does that, it's a great party. Life is a great time. And Ford helps us, reminds us of this. Why do they get all this stuff and it doesn't get sent here? It makes no sense. Political will, that's all we need. All right, and again, the best part is not to hear it from a stuttering, a guy like me. What about real organizers who get in the ground and they work at the grassroots level to bring people together to speak for what's right? I have a friend who's such a human. He's an inspiration to me, anyone else he meets, Stan Morse.
First, I want to thank everybody for coming out here, to support the situation. Like Ford said, it's outrageous. Despite, in addition to not having gas, you live in apartments that are literally falling all apart around these tenants, and people are literally dying. So I want to say to the mayor, I want to say to Greg Buss, that your program is not working. They have a pilot program in all these developments in Astoria, Ravenswood, Queensbridge, and to actually improve the conditions, so they say. But I've gone now to those development, to the manager's office, and I see the same old, same old. So that pilot program is not working. What we really want, instead of you talking about privatizing NYCHA, get the money to fix it. We don't need RAD, we do not need the blueprint, we don't need infill, we don't need any of that. What we need is a political will to do the right thing and fix these apartments. Nobody should be living in these kind of conditions. And I've been with these folks in Astoria throughout this whole time period, along with Evie and Vanessa and all the rest. And we get up there and we talk to these folks. There's no deadline in sight for this. That's the worst part. They'll be coming through the holidays. There's going to be no gas for Thanksgiving. There's probably going to be no gas for Christmas. There probably will be no gas going into next year. So we don't even know. So how frustrating is that to be without gas and you can't even get an answer as to when it's going to come on? How about all the money they got to spend to buy food? How about all the stress they got to deal with? During this time, there was a situation where they had no heat as well. So imagine living in an apartment with no gas, no heat, and no answers. So that has to stop. It really does. I've gone down to the manager's office. It's disrespectful. And that you can't call it nothing else but that. When you go into a window and they can't even come outside to speak to you, to even give you an answer. Or you ask for the manager to come out and the manager's in the building, in the manager's office, and won't come out and address a tenant. Or you tell a lady that, you know what, your housing worker's here, but you gotta wait an hour so they can go to lunch. While you sit there and wait. And then when they come back after an hour, they tell you, well, go home, we're gonna call. This happened just the other day. A lady goes with me to the manager's office to find out what's going on. She has a leak in her apartment, she has mold, she's sick, it's actually affecting her health. And so when she asks for an answer, they say, first wait for an hour, then when they come out, they brush her off and say, well, we'll call you. Go on home, somebody's coming today, and we're gonna call you. Well, guess what? Nobody called her. And now we got 2 or 3 days later, nobody still called her. What type of treatment is that? What type of treatment is that? And she's sick. Her conditions are literally killing her. You know, so we gotta understand really how serious this is. You know, this is life and death for a lot of people, and I mean that literally. In the middle of this pandemic, I walk through these developments. They're not cleaning. On their website, it says we clean it 3 times a week. So nice it says. I'm in these buildings. I'm in the Ravenswood. I'm in Astoria. I'm up and down the staircases. I'm on the elevators. They're not cleaning. Go look at the building now. You know, so they're telling us a bunch of lies, and it's unacceptable. It really is. And for those who are not doing the right thing, you know what we got to do? We got to vote them out. You know, we really got to understand the most important politics is local politics. Whoever's in the White House, whether Biden and whoever, the most important politics is right here in this neighborhood. And we need all of you guys to really get involved, you know, because it is life and death. The decisions are made on this level. And NYC residents, please wake up. You are a powerful voting bloc. There's 700,000 NYC residents. So if all the NYC residents got together, you can actually shape policy. Don't believe what they tell you. What they say is that you guys are not going to vote. What they say is that you're not going to be involved. But so we got to show them something different. You know, we got to show them that you are going to vote, and you are going to get involved, and you're not going to take it. And if those who are for you, then great. And if you're not, then get out the way. So for all the elected officials that are running, you know, the question for all of y'all are going to be is, do you fully support, fully fund the NYC? That's number one. The second question is, are you down with RAD or infill or the blueprint? You know, if you're down with any of those particular programs, then you're not for NYC. What you're for is for the real estate folks who want to come in here and take these buildings and make money off the pain and suffering of these people. You know, we don't want that. We don't want our neighborhoods gentrified and changed to the point where we can't even live here. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So we cannot lose NYC. That's the last affordable housing that there is in this city. So, and they're coming for that. So if they take that, what's next? And I want everybody who doesn't live in NYC to know, once they take NYC, you're next. Your apartments are going to go up. Your rent's going to go up, and you're going to be kicked out of the neighborhood as well. So it's everybody's fight. Whether you're in NYC or not in NYC, you know somebody in NYC. You know somebody going through this pain. And for the whole borough of Queens, when one of us suffers, I don't care what neighborhood you're in, then we all suffer. So we're going to keep this fight up. I'm telling you, these guys are going on strike now. They're organizing. It is amazing to see that. They're taking power in their own hands. They're going to form an escort account with my brother Donnelly over here, and they're organizing. And once we do it in this building, we're going to do it in other buildings until it becomes a citywide movement. And the last thing I'm going to say is we are suing Astoria houses. We are suing Ravenswood. We are suing Queensbridge for their lack of cleaning, their lack of repairs before and during COVID-19. You know, so those lawsuits will be happening, and hopefully it will spread throughout the city, and we get a citywide movement of NYC residents, the people that they think are the least forgotten, the people they think won't do nothing. Watch what we do now. We're going to start with this situation here. We're going to grow and make this a citywide movement for change and justice from the bottom up. So I'm going to give it back to Nick, and we're going to keep this fight going.
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down! Awesome. Thank you, Stan. Listen, Stan makes such a brilliant point. If we are a resident in a democracy and we have a vote, we are essentially the boss of elected leaders. Our tax money pays their salary. And your vote is their job review. How they do. Really? Andy Cuomo, you can't give us a rent strike? You've got so many billionaire friends. You can't figure that one out? All right? Hey, but listen, boo, for sure. I mean, seriously, Andy? Come, like, you know, that's lame, okay? But let's call out the politicians who get good job reviews. Are there some who called for a rent strike? Or not a rent strike, but to cancel rent? called to protect NYCHA? And are there some who show up on the front lines and fight the fight with those who need it? There are. There are. I'd like to introduce one. Senator Mike Ginaris on the front line, calling for cancel rent, helping us out here each time. Thank you so much, Senator Ginaris. Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And first of all, I want to thank Ford and the residents of Astoria Houses who've been putting up with this nonsense for month after month. They are showing some great strength, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate all you're doing. And I want to thank the community for stepping up. There have been people who have been feeding, bringing food on a regular basis. I know a lot of them are here. We appreciate the work that this community has done coming together to help our neighbors. But it shouldn't come to that. That shouldn't even be necessary, because this is a job that someone is supposed to already be doing. Okay? NYCHA is supposed to already be providing. They're supposed to be fixing the gas problems when they happen. They're supposed to be repairing these apartments when they're having problems. And I want to talk a little bit about something. A lot of people who are not familiar with NYCHA, don't live here, they have a misunderstanding about NYCHA residents. NYCHA residents pay rent to live where they live. And part of their rent covers utilities. And so think about this now. The residents of Astoria Houses in 104 are paying rent for something they're not getting. Right? They're paying rent for utilities that they are not being provided. So I put in a bill, and Khalil Anderson, I don't know if you guys know Khalil, he just got elected to the Assembly. He's going to introduce this in the Assembly side, but we are introducing a bill to make sure that the people who are suffering without utilities are not paying for utilities, so they will get a discount in the rent if we get this bill passed. But that's the least we can do. That's just the least we can do. We do need to cancel rent. I was proud to put in the first bill to do that way back in March. We're still working on getting that done. But more importantly, we need to make sure NYCHA works the way it's supposed to. That does mean that NYCHA needs to be fully funded. And when you're talking about fully funding NYCHA, you're talking about getting that money from the people who have it, the millionaires and billionaires who, by the way, have been getting really rich the last 6 months. While everybody else is losing jobs, can't pay in their rent, apartments are falling apart, the people who are billionaires who are living in those buildings that Ford was talking about across the river, they're doing really, really well. So I don't think it's unfair to say, you're doing so well, why don't you give a little bit to make sure other people are not suffering? And that's what we're going to try and do. We had some great success locally in the elections. The state Senate's about to get a supermajority in the Senate, which means when we go into next year's budget, we are not going to accept cuts. We are going to insist on raising revenue to make sure the services we need are being provided. And so we're going to do that. I know Congresswoman Maloney's here. She's fighting in Congress to get us some local aid as well. Hopefully the new president helps us get that. But I just want to say that you have my support. I was with you all at 250 Broadway a couple of weeks ago down in downtown Manhattan to take it right to NYCHA. And of course, I'm here within the community to do whatever we can, and I will be there every step of the way until we make sure that everyone is treated with respect and everyone is treated fairly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Ginaris. Thank you so much. And of course, we need the help of everyone along the ladder. Those at the top making the decisions, we need their help. But the help is all for nothing. The ideas and the policies will only ring hollow if we don't have the level of compassion needed to listen to those who are living the experience. We have to have at least enough empathy to open our ears, hear what they have to say, and let it land in our heart. It's the only way we move forward. So let's hear from the tenants. Shante, LA Paparazzi. Oh, wait. Kim? Okay, so, all right, Kim, bring it. Still, one of our tenants. Kim, bring it in.
Hello, how y'all doing this afternoon? I'm a bit nervous. Okay. I live at 104 Astoria Boulevard. At one point, I'm a family of 3. I become a family of 7 during the week. I have 3 grandchildren. My daughter is an essential worker. Trying to feed my children and my grandchildren on the hot plate they gave us. The one hot plate is impossible. You need 3 meals a day. It's not working out for us. I do appreciate those who are feeding us. It helps a lot. It does. It helps a lot. My issue with this is that technically, I'm going to give you information. I'm the one who called 911 for the gas leak. But I called housing first. I said, listen, we have a gas leak. Before I called the fire department, I need y'all to send someone over here. They told me to call 911, which I did. They turned off the gas. 3 weeks later, maybe 4, housing decided they wanted to communicate with us about the gas being off. At that same meeting, maybe 30 days after the gas was off, I mentioned electric stoves. Our stoves now are gas and electric. It takes 2 minutes to remove the gas stove, to push an electric stove in that spot. We wouldn't have all this going on right now. I even gave them a game plan because for some odd reason they think people who live in New York City housing are collecting welfare. We are paying rent.
That's right, that's right. That's right.
I told them, in my building, we may have 4 tenants that's literally collecting public assistance. Everybody else is paying rent. If they can't afford to pay for their stove, let me back for a minute. I asked them to go to PC Richards to go pick out an electric stove. We'll come up there, we'll purchase the stove with our rent money. For those apartments who can't, you'll have one apartment who will have a receipt for 2 stoves. This way, the 48 apartments will be taken care of without any money from housing, coming directly from housing. We would just use our rent money. It's above their head, is what I was told from my manager. It's above her head. I read an article a couple of days ago that got all the way to, and I want to call him the chair of New York City Housing, Russ. Okay. He predicts it in the future. My deal is we need it now.
Right.
We need it right now. We can't wait for the future. We can't wait. We all have lives going on. Last night I was in the hospital with my middle daughter, 28 years old, passed out in my house. I'm here this afternoon because this is so important to me. I need to have some way to cook a meal, to cook Thanksgiving dinner, which is coming up, to cook Christmas dinner. You are not reimbursing us. Housing is not reimbursing us for the food we're buying out. They're saying you're on your own. They're saying for those who are receiving public assistance, go back to HRA and get an allowance.
What?
Some of us are not receiving anything from HRA. Some of us are seniors. Some of us have disabilities. There are 2 people in my building are wheelchair bound that have caregivers. They can't come outside. They can't do what we do, trying to, prepare everything. They have special meals they need to cook for them. So at this point, they just left us in a lurch. They left us on our own. My deal is, what are we to do? All of us to go to PC Richards, go get a cheap stove, electric stove, have the truck pull up? What happens next? What happens next? And then you want to talk about the tickets, the ticket blinks. Let me give you a piece of information. I live on the 4th floor. My neighbor on the 6th floor had a leak on the same line. 6th floor, she's the top floor. So the leak came all the way down. It was in the walls. My kitchen is a wreck. But I still try to find a way to work around it. I put in tickets, they get closed. As fast as I put the tickets in, they get closed. Or they call me talking about the virus. I said, listen, we have a problem. We need a solution. Unfortunately, housing is not ready for a solution. This ticket thing they have going on, I haven't seen it. I'm just kind of tired and exhausted. You know, I need more help. And I do appreciate all of y'all coming out. I do. I'm just really exhausted right now. Thank you.
Kim, thank you. Kim, nobody sees a nervous speaker. We see a brave hero. You do the right thing, and we're all thankful. We're all in your debt for speaking up. And it's exactly those stories that we have to hear. And so, how about now? Shantae, LA Paparazzi, you want to do this? Bring it in, girl. All right. You got it.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate your time. I'm just going to put some things up here that's very important to me, because when I do any type of performance, poetry opens up the heart. The heart. Okay? I'm a Hunter College graduate, so I do have an education. Just because I live in the projects does not mean I don't have an education. Okay? So the reason why I'm saying that is because working at Hunter College, being a student at Hunter College, we always were told to keep our voice powerful. Utilize your voice, people, because that is the only tool you have that's going to get you to the next level in this world. Higher education is number one to me. And the reason why I have these pants up here is because my dear friend Data Blake, he was killed in a nightclub just for doing his job. Some of you probably don't know about him, but he was killed in 2003, and he was an Astoria resident. He made these pants for me when I was only 14. So the reason why I'm utilizing these pants today is because when you're dead and you're going on, you know, away from this world, you cannot speak anymore. So being a student at Hunter College, graduating with honors and everything, I was always told that higher education is a way out of poverty. But as you can see, we're in the Astoria mansions now. I don't see it as the projects. Maybe other people see it like that because they don't live here. They don't go through the things that we go through. I'm not saying anybody, you know, here doesn't have issues or problems, but we're bringing a highlight to this gas situation. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because I'm a poet, number one. And being a poet over the years, I'm 38 years old. I was told that your voice is powerful. My poetry has been published in books with Hunter College, and I will give you my information later on at another time. But the reason why I'm saying these pants are so vital to me is because this is all I have left from my dear friend Dana Blake. He was just doing his job in a nightclub trying to utilize the smoking ban that was passed at that time. Just trying to get some people to stop smoking in the club. And he lost his life. He lost his life. So I will never forget that story, because I remember being a Hunter College student at the time in 2003, I couldn't write. I felt like my soul just closed up. So, my dear friends, I'm going to ask you in solidarity today to please put your deuces up. We're going to represent peace today. And the reason why I'm saying we're representing peace is because we're standing here on a vital issue that's affecting the Astoria residents. If you look to my right, which is your left, this is where I reside. I do poetry by the river, the East River. So I want you to put yourself in my shoes for a moment, and the other Astoria residents. Keep those peace signs raised, because we're standing together to convey a message. We need your help. We need you to get this word out. I know a lot of people like to record and post and put things on Bookface. I call it Bookface. Facebook, Instagram. Every time you hit that button, you have power. It could be something negative, it could be something positive, but I'm going to ask you to just spread a little positivity, please. Share this with people you know, your family members, elected officials, whoever you think is important to you in your little box, you know, when I say box, I'm saying people that you have, like friends on your Facebook page, whoever you associate with. Let's spread some light on Astoria houses today. The Astoria Mansion, okay? And if you get a moment, go by the East River. This is a milestone to me. This is where I grew up. I moved out here in 1989. So my mom, she's retired now. Yes, she was a welfare recipient, but she worked. She actually worked. And that's the thing I don't like, when people put stigma on people who are welfare recipients. Like, if we discussed you, oh, they needed help. They needed government assistance. At this time right now, we're in a pandemic right now. And I think a lot of people needed some assistance when they found out they was being unemployed the next day, how they was gonna feed their families. So I feel we all come from a place of love. We struggle, yes. We are resilient. We get up. We don't stay down. I can't stay down because that's not how I was raised. My mother and father always told me, keep high education is number one. My mom, she shared a quote with me throughout my life, throughout my college years, junior high school years. She said, Shantae, some people ride the local. Some ride the express. But Shantae, honey, don't ever get off that train until you reach success. So I feel everybody here today is riding with me on this freedom train. Because we all have a voice. We're living. We're breathing. We woke up this morning. Come on, give God some praise. If you don't believe in God, that's okay. It's okay. But I believe everyone in here got something in common that they believe in. It doesn't have to be God. You believe in something. Because you get up every day and you go to work, you put your kids in school. These things matter. So why the people that live in the mansions and Astoria houses, why we don't matter? I don't understand it. I can't get the logic. Please help me understand. I don't understand it. And that's why I'm saying, back to what I said, I'm going to throw a little poetry in here. Astoria houses, better known as the projects. I reside as a violated young black woman. Keep the weak in jail. Keep the weak in jail. My mother, a dominant queen, whose work is never done. Sorry, Miss Austin, we want to cause you pain and stress. A budget of $68 to cover rent, food, and utilities. Now that's what I call courage. I watched my mother cry diamond-shaped tears as the bills piled up high, as the Twin Towers once stood. Now that's what I call courage. Mama used her welfare card today to buy a can of pork and beans. Sunny cornbread, just to heal our tummies. Now that's what I call courage. My mama, a dominant queen, as I said, under the 24-hour timeline. City lights, work is never done. She was a telephone operator. But yes, she needed some assistance. But my mom, she never gave up on anything. You could throw anything at her. She'll catch it. She'll catch it. And the reason why I'm saying that, I speak to you with positivity. There's nothing negative about being brilliant, being smart, being, strength, filled with strength. There's nothing negative about that. If you speak up and speak out, you're wrong for speaking out. Why? Why? I stand together with you today to let you know I sit by that East River right here where the New York City ferry comes now. A lot of people wasn't aware of that. Yes, you could take the ferry here. We got it going on in Astoria houses. We live in the mansion. This is what it is. This is what it is. And as I sit by those benches over there in that section, I want you to experience what I feel. Put the deuces back up. Peace. Peace and love is what we're spreading today. We're not pointing fingers at anyone. We're just trying to get Nitro on board with us. Right? New York City, Housing Authority, do you hear us? Do you hear us? We send this message to you from Astoria houses known as the Mansions. That's That's what we're doing today, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who do not know, please spread the love. Put it on your Instagram, whatever. But say something positive. How can we move forward? Yes, we did get the hot plates. But what else is NYCHA doing for us? And that's why I just say, standing over here by this river, it gives me peace. It gives me tranquility. Being in this neighborhood. We love this community. We're standing here today. And as I look down, keep your deuces up. I see power in your hands, right? Strength. And if you leave here thinking that this is a waste of time, you're wrong. Because this is not a waste of time. Our human rights have been violated. I say our human rights have been violated because we are still paying rent. Some people are withholding their rent, yes. Some people are afraid to speak up. But that's where myself and Kim steps in. And the rest of the crew that's behind us steps in. Justice for All Coalition and Astoria Mutual Aid. They step in. We stand in the gaps because Astoria residents are really afraid to come forward and speak out. And as we're standing here today, as you got your deuces up, this is your power. The power is in your hands, ladies and gentlemen. We are asking you to stand with us. Stand with us, not against us. This press conference is not to bash NYCHA, but NYCHA needs to do their part. Seriously. So to my right, which is your left, look at that brown building over there. That's where I reside. That's 1-04 right there. It is 48 apartments in that building. 6 floors. And if you never experienced it before, hey, take a look right now. Those are superstars in that building. I lived it. So if I feel I'm a superstar, you're a superstar right along with me. And me and Kim, we've been standing out here trying to get everybody on board every Saturday providing hot meals. But see, NYCHA got it twisted. They think, oh, just because we're being, sheltered by everyone else that's helping us out, that doesn't go unknown. But what is NYCHA doing? And I'll just share a little bit of my story. I hope we have a little time. Can I share my story? Because I believe that we need to share our story. We don't need people telling our stories. We don't need other people telling our stories because I feel like God gave me a mouth to speak, and I'm going to utilize that power. I want you to get a good look at this building here. This is where me and the Astoria residents reside. On September 22nd, the day before my mom's birthday, could you just imagine? She's 70 years old. She called me and said we had no gas in the building. And then I called my neighbor Kim. Like she said, she was the one that called 911, yes. But I also did my part as an advocate, and I called NYCHA myself too. I called the centralized call center, and you know what they told me? Oh, NYCHA is not aware of the issue. Huh? Please, come again, I didn't hear you. Speak up a little louder. Oh, NYCHA is aware of the issue. Okay. So the fire department turned off the B line, as I was told, and the Con Edison came and turned off everything in the entire building. Shut it down completely because there was a gas outage between the 3rd and the 4th floor. That's what was told. We didn't get that information from NYCHA. A leak. We didn't get that information from NYCHA. So the only thing I'm saying is, as I learned as a college student, effective communication is key. That's all we want. Simple communication. But trust me, if you're behind in your rent, they're going to send a notice to you. Absolutely. They're going to send a notice to you if you're behind in your rent. Try not giving them 50 cents and they're gonna say, oh, put a notice on there, I'm going to evict you. 50 cents. But I'm just saying, I'm just making the example out of it. Because when I got the call about the gas outages, I said, you know what are we going to do? What are the senior citizens going to do? What are the families, the mothers and fathers with children going to do? So like my civic right duty, I followed up with NYCHA. Still, centralized call center told me, oh, it's 7 a.m. in the morning. NYCHA's not open now. Really? What is urgency to NYCHA? What is an emergency to NYCHA? I don't understand, because I feel it was an emergency. That our gas was out? This is what got me. Astoria residents informed me that they didn't know the gas lines were out. They turned down the hot plates when NYCHA showed up the next day on September 23rd, my mom's birthday. I'm saying it because it's important to me. They showed up 8 in the morning, giving out hot plates. All right, everybody got a hot plate. Everybody got a hot plate. 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, we doing our job. Yeah, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Everybody getting a hot plate. But like I said, Astoria residents were still not aware. The reason why I'm saying that is because someone told me their story that their son turned down the hot plate. So I really think that's on NYCHA's fault, because NYCHA put a handwritten note in the lobby. It was actually from Novellis Contracting. It was an email. They didn't even take the time to type up a simple memo to say the gas lines is out. They just wrote, gas lines is out until further notice, in a handwritten statement. Really? That's how you think of us? Treat us like scum. Whatever, they could deal with it. That's how I feel. It was a slap in the face to me. But no, I got with Kim. I said, you know what? We could do better than this. We could do better than this. So I continued to call NYCHA. I even put in complaints with the borough management office. And they're kind of like passive too with it. Oh, we have our hands tied. Energy Services is working on it. Okay, they're working on it, but when is it gonna get done? We need updates. So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna continue calling NYCHA. I called 311, got my information from 311, and they informed me that Con Edison will not turn the gas back on until NYCHA passes an initial inspection. But this was back in September. We're now going into November. Energy Services is involved. Con Edison is involved. The Tenant Association, Ms. Colbert, they're all involved. NYCHA's involved. Everybody's at the table. But now they want to give us these little floor-to-floor meetings every 2 weeks. It's not enough. It's not enough. We're living in the Astoria Mansions. Why we can't get the proper communication that we need? We're not complaining. It's just an issue that's been just tossed to the side. And they're bad with giving out notices, because they told us to wait on October 20th and October 21st for the vendors to come. We were told that they're waiting on a bid or whatever, you know, to get the vendors going to do the work. They didn't want to use their own plumbers. We get it. But who are you going to use? We were told that Ravenswood, another development, had outages. And we had to wait for them to be finished, because they're still waiting on the vendor. Really? Seriously? Seriously? This is what they're telling us. And we're just supposed to just sit down and just take it. But we're getting rude and we're getting crazy. Hostile. Really? I think housing need a lot of training over there. They need some training. They even offered me a job too. I have a job, thank you, thank God, but they offered me a job. I must be doing something correct for them to see a light in me. And the English notices that went out from NYCHA about when the gas is going to get turned on, we have Spanish-speaking residents in Astoria houses, to my right, your left, that don't speak very good English. But NYCHA can't even get it right with that either. They sent the English notice to the Spanish residents. Come on, we stand for all of our people in the community. It's just not Black Americans in this community. I feel we're the melting pot here. This is not a black and white issue. This is a human issue. Come on, seriously? This is a human issue. And I thank you for taking out the time to be with us today because it's very vital. And I really hope we can move forward together with NYCHA and a good game plan to let us know when we're going to get our gas. As I said, I come from South Carolina, North Carolina. Thanksgiving is approaching. My roots is filled with macaroni and cheese, cheddar macaroni and cheese, finger licking good, chocolate cake, excuse me, chocolate cake, you know, some good ribs, some good turkey. It's just my roots. My roots is very colorful. And I'm painting my voice today in Astoria community, in the Astoria community at the mansion. And I just want you to just take that away with you, please, because everybody here is going home. We still got to deal with this issue. The hot plate is not working. Yes, it helped the first 3 days, but still, can you really cook a whole meal on there for your entire family? Come on. Come on. Let's just be realistic for just one moment. Let's just put the logistics out there. I think Astoria Mutual Aid, Justice for All Coalition, for standing with us, the Tenant Association, we thank you for standing with us because I just don't know how to communicate it anymore to NYCHA. I really don't. And like I said, we were having lobby meetings with the property manager and the super, but they're telling us now we can't have lobby meetings because we need to social distance. But we started out having lobby meetings. Why are you trying to divide and conquer the movement? We got the space. We got the land. We have the acres of land. We could spread out. Let's just get on board with us. Stay on this freedom train ride with us, please. Because I really don't like the floor-to-floor meeting thing, but this is what the property manager is doing. I can't step in her way. I'm not trying to step on her toes, but I really think they need to communicate better. We can't keep doing these floor-to-floor meetings because, as I said, some people have language barriers, and we can't leave them out. That's why our voice is so important. It's so important. And the way I'm going to close, I just want to close with this. I have a quote here. Poetry to me means the poor, the old, the rich, and the young. It affects us all. And this is a quote from Maya Angelou. When we stand up, can I get those deuces in the air again? Because that's our power piece right there. When we stand up, we must know that we are standing up for everybody. Each of us needs to know, in fact, that we are rainbows in the clouds. Point to the sky. We are rainbows in the clouds. Poetry is like the five senses to me. It surrounds us through it all. It's like magic. It could take you in a million places. It could take you in a million places. But we have to work together. How do you think the elected officials got into office? They had a plan. If we don't have a plan, we're going to fail. We have to have a plan. And as I stated, we're going into winter. It's 60 days and counting that we've been without gas. Building 5, 4-03, is another building that was without gas since October the 5th. If you do your research, you could check on the NYCHA website. Because in the beginning, when we were getting the media involved and getting our crews together, NYCHA was only reporting the beeline being out when it was the entire building. And I had to bring that to their attention. And I'm sure many others brought it to their attention. But come on, we have to do better. And all my Astoria residents, get those 311 complaints in. Because they're there for you. Get those 311 complaints in. Stop waiting for people to do things for you. You have to step up and stand out. If you're afraid to speak, it's okay. But don't let other people tell your story. That's what poetry is about. We never afraid. And I tell you right now, I am never afraid. Because if God brought me to it, I could get through it. And I'm unbreakable, and that's the way my mother and father raised me. And I'm going to keep that with me for the rest of my life. In my higher education, I love children. They're my muse. And I'm going to keep putting it in their ears too. I'm an NYPD school safety officer. I'm already in that community with the youth. So let's do better, man. Let's really do better. Seriously. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time. I'm sorry for taking up all your time.
When I say stand up, you say fight back. Stand up.
Fight back.
Stand up.
Fight back.
Stand up.
Fight back.
Stand up.
Fight back.
Stand up.
Fight back.
Stand up.
Fight back. Nice. Shante, thank you. Shante, you're a genius. You're a genius. You have a brain that can create. You have a heart that can express. You put art and poetry into the world. If every human being took that lead, we wouldn't have problems. Literally no fighting, no wars. We'd get along. Life would be amazing if we all expressed and used our minds to create and build. Part of building means we need people in the community who can connect A to B to C, who can take an idea and materialize it into something, a program, a food drive, someone who can show up and create systems. We have such a community member here. It's worth listening to her, and she always inspires all of us to step up, roll up our sleeves, and get the job done. Evianzopoulos.
Thank you, Nick. I just want y'all to know that 4 weeks ago, Shantae was too shy to speak to the media. So I love seeing this, because we had to coax her. She is amazing. Thank you, Shantae. You know, 2 months ago, the gas went out in that building, but as she said, there's another building in Astoria houses that also doesn't have gas. And if you go down to Ravenswood, there is another building there. And if you go across this city, there is building after building that does not have gas. On top of all the repairs that haven't been made, the mold, the lead, NYCHA has been neglected. This community has been neglected, and we won't let that happen anymore. I want to thank everybody who has made food every Saturday for the past 6 weeks, who's been cooking in their homes, schlepping it here, serving it up with me. Other people who have been here since April, Queens Together, Urban Upbound, Zone 126, other community groups that have stepped in to feed families, but also Justice for All, who has together, right, we've been feeding, but then they've been organizing, and that's really, really important to get the residents and make them know that they have people behind them who will stand with them to get the situation fixed and all the other issues as well. When the gas goes out, who does the burden fall upon? Let's drill it down a little more. The parents and the women. When the schools are closed because we are putting profit over people and we didn't have a plan, who does the burden fall on? It falls on the parents and it falls on the women. I want to be more specific. It falls on the black women in this community. So I just want to take a minute to acknowledge the amazing women that I have been working with. They have allowed me to be here in this space. They are my sisters, as we say, and they have been dealing with their own personal challenges. And they still show up every Saturday to feed their neighbors. So I want to acknowledge Vanessa Jones Hall. She has lost 61 people since April. Since April, 61 family members. And she still comes here every Saturday with me to set up. She brings stuff from her apartment. She gets those sternos going, and she serves her community. I want to acknowledge Kim Elliott, who has just been a tireless advocate for her neighbors, who won't take no for an answer, and shows up for her community. And then, of course, Shantae Alston, who is just a dynamo, and who will do anything for anyone. She is adored. I adore you. So I have flowers for them because they do not get the appreciation that they need. So please come on up. And Vanessa, I don't know if you want to say a few words. I know you've been going through a tough time, but come on up, Shantae and Kim too. Woo! Woo!
I didn't expect this one.
I want to hug her, but we really shouldn't. You know. I know.
No, we can do hugs. We can do this. Thank you. Thank you.
I usually don't go nowhere without my mask, but today I'm going to uncover myself so I can be revealed to you all. I love where I live. I don't travel in other states. I even went into other countries. But I returned back home because I was raised to go out and about and then come back and tell us about the adventures of your day. And that's what I've done. And not only did I tell my adventures, but I showed my adventures. And I taught my adventures. Because I was told that I'm a teacher and a student at the same time every single day. Because I have something to learn from you all, and you have something to learn from me. And the first thing I want you to learn is about my home, Astoria. We are the beginning of the borough. Welcome. And we get very little support. My family has moved in this community in 1951. We were the first 10 families, first 10 settlers to move into this community. And I take pride where I live because this was a flourishing community. You had the husband and the wife and the children. You had families flourishing. We were raised to respect each other's surname. Don't you go out this door and disrespect your name as a Johnson & Jones or a Smith or a Craig. Don't you walk out this door and misunderstand what is given to you to go out and about is to learn. But we were also taught to support each other in this community. We had our own businesses. Even when we grew up, we had Greek families and Italian families right here in this neighborhood with us as our neighbors. So you misunderstand when it comes to NYCHA communities that it's only a black community, because that's not true. I say to my white friends and colleagues, don't disrespect us because you were able to move. I came back because I love where I live. I wanted to return because I seen what was happening to my community throughout the years with drugs being pushed inside here, guns being pushed inside here. And then when we complain and we make our voices heard, we're called savages. We're called to be disrespectful. We're told that we're illiterate, murderers, drug addicts, and rapists. That's what's been said about us in this community right here. And you're wrong. Greatness came from this community. Talent is in this community. Educated people is in this community. Like my sister said over here, I have a degree in international business. So you don't judge me by where I live, because where I live, I stand proud for. I stand very proud for. And what we're tired of, and this has been going on for a very long time with us in NYCHA, that you think that we don't deserve the quality of life that the rest of y'all do. We want to have our families exited into our community safely. We want to have our homes where we can come in and smile from a hard day. Not leave a disastrous world to come into our own little private disastrous world because we're constantly being neglected. I worked on the Sandy project. They didn't even put us on the map when we were hit. We were forgotten. We had to voice ourselves out there and let it be known, help us. Because we're the only ones of NYCHA's communities, one of the few that sits on the water. How do you not recognize us? We had to let our voices know before FEMA put us on the map. We had to fight for that. They didn't say, oh, Astoria is a disaster zone. No. And they were one of the buildings were categorized as a building of disaster because the water filled up to the first floor in all these buildings here.
It was swimming through.
And it's not fair that this continues to go on and on. And when I was on that Sandy project, I firsthand watched the corruption that was taking place of them wanting to falsify the information to be given to the residents correctly, the budgets, the numbers, and what was actually going to take place for help, as well as them lying to the residents about being able to get jobs through this project. Part of that money was supposed to be to train residents. Instead, we were looked upon as not worthy to be done for. That disaster brought a ray of hope to us, because that was one time that we said, NYCHA has to turn around and pay attention to us, because there's no way with this that they can ignore us, but they still continue to do. And the sad part is not by bashing them like this young lady said. It's all about letting those who are higher up over the property managers and all of them who sits up in those offices, who makes those hundreds of millions of thousands of dollars and don't have to worry about coming to live here because they can go home with their own comforts and ignore us when they clock out. And that's what they do, time and time again. And unfortunately, it trickles down to the property managers and the superintendents, who has to be on ground with us, who has to hear us fuss and yell at them all the time. Because a lot of times their hands are tied. Because those up top continue to hire those that don't have no care in their heart about us. Those up top, I watched it. We watched it. And we're tired of watching. We're tired. Enough is enough. There's so much going on, even through we support other nicer communities, because I had the Lower East Sides, the Rockaways, the Coney Islands, one on New Lanes in Staten Island, and up there in Harlem, Rango Houses was why developments through the Sandy Project. And we all had the same dilemma. Yeah. We are highly educated people. We all may not have degrees, but don't call us dummies. Please talk to us. Explain to us the terminology that you're speaking about, so when we hear it again, we know how to associate it. Because that's called educating your people. So please, I appreciate all of you coming out here, and even all of what I've gone through and watching with this pandemic. I even got involved with the census to make sure my people of all colors of this community get involved. I even got involved with the COVID, making sure that we stay safe. Because if we don't do it together, it's not going to happen, because those up there don't care about us. And we need to come together and let them know enough is enough. We're going to make you hear us. Because we have lives that we're fighting for. And when they need somebody to get out there on the front line and fight, where are they? They still up there. While we're right here doing what we're doing right now, every single day. Since this pandemic started, like Evie said, we've been out here every single day. I've been out here every week since April, since the end of March, nonstop, regardless of all of what I am personally dealing with. It is not easy. But because this is what I love to do for my people, and we got to keep this fight up, we're going to let them know, regardless of whatever happens here, you're not going to break us down. You're not going to allow us to show you any weakness. Because we're going to stand strong together no matter what we go through. And we're going to make sure you hear us. We're going to make sure you understand that we have a life and family that we love. And you're not going to come in our communities and destroy us. You have people coming in here with all these other buildings down the street around us, and not just building on this property. Letting private people build on this property. But you can't handle this. I'm on the community board. I'm the vice chair of the housing committee along with Evie, and I'm also a member of the environmental committee. And at these meetings that we attend, I ask them when they come to talk to us, well, what are you doing when you put your building there? How are you safeguarding us when you're tapping into our gas lines, our water supply, our electricity? Because there's nothing environmentally being updated for us. You're coming in and you're tapping into our resources. This is why you see all of this disaster on us all the time. Plus, nitric buildings are old. You cannot continue to do patchwork and band-aids. You cannot place new things on old bodies. You need to replace. It wasn't meant to last but for so long. Stop mishandling the monies. Stop mishandling the projects. Stop hiring these contractors who don't give a damn. Because they come in, they do a disastrous job, and you know what happens to us? We have to wait again. We have to wait for them to come back and do an assessment. We're tired of being assessed. We're tired. We need resolutions. And I thank you all for coming and supporting us. All of you who contribute food and everything and your time to us, we are so grateful. We are so grateful. You have no idea how grateful we are. And I always say, please don't come in my community with an ill-minded situation under your belt, because it will be revealed. It will be found out. If you're not here to support us out of love, I just ask that you please walk away and leave us alone. I'm being honest with you. Because we've had this too many times happen to us, where we welcome people in and they use us for a photo op or political stance, and then they walk away and they leave us high and dry over and over. And right now, We're tired of being high and dry. And we're angry. We're not savages. We're families that want the same like anybody else for theirs. Just like you want for yours. To have our children grow in a safe community, to have our families be able to have something beautiful, to make sure the legacy that we establish here will continue beyond my years. I'm a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 5. I have my grandsons work with me this summer so they can get an idea of how to work in their community, so they can get an understanding of what it is to notice a struggle, not just here in the NYC houses, but all across Astoria, all across Long Island City, because what y'all all don't understand is that we may have little clusters, but we're all a community together. And we got to recognize them. So once again, I want to say thank you. These 2 beautiful souls has been doing a good job. Thank you, Evie. Thank you, Fu, First, Queens. Excuse me, I'm so emotional right now. Queens Together, and the other entities, Urban Upbound and the Community Board and the Res Association, and all of those of you who has come out and supported us, because we do need the help. We do need to have that recognition spread, but we want spread positivity. Stop talking about us in such a negative way, because what I'm tired of, just like every other community, we have 3 to 5% of things that we want to rid our community of, but it gets 95% attention, and it's not fair. Because you got good, wholesome families here that fight every day, struggle every day to make things work. Whether you're on public assistance or you make $50,000, $70,000 a year in this community, because there are people living here that makes that much. You got people here paying, they may rent being $75, but the person who rent is $2,500, $3,500 is equal in value. And they deserve equal value treatment when it comes to quality of life. I want to say thank you, through the grace of God, that I'm even able to stand up, because I had another death in my family. I made 61 this last Friday. And then I told Evie I think about coming out, because I got to the point where I just didn't want to get out of bed, because I'm tired. And a lot of us is tired. We've been fighting for years, and this epidemic makes it worse. I ask of you to please stay masked, stay distanced, and stay safe, so we can all see 2021 together. Thank you.
I just want to say it's great that so many people showed up for this press conference, but people need to keep showing up, right? So there's more work that needs to be done. They need more support. We need to fight for our neighbors, for this community, so it doesn't end today. Housing is a human right. NYCHA needs to be fixed. We're going to have Thanksgiving meals for anyone who needs them through Frontline Foods, but that is not enough. So let's keep the pressure on. And with that, I'll hand it back to Nick.
Thank you. And Vanessa, thank you. Your willingness to open your heart reminds us all of what is the best of humanity. There's nothing human about stashing a bunch of capital in a bank and buying fancy toys. What's human is understanding feeling and being willing to share that with fellow human beings, to express how we feel and to have enough intelligence to understand it. So thank you for reminding us what it means to be a real human of quality. And like Vanessa says too, there's nothing glorious about punching down. We don't turn on each other and we don't point fingers at one another, but instead we look up. We punch up. Who are the ones at the top of the ladder who are creating the systems that we all live under? And we have to hold them to account. We have a new administration coming in now. We have a chance to come up with new ideas, but we have to keep our eyes on our elected leaders and make sure they do the right thing. Because after all, they work for us. So let's meet yet another elected leader who's here today. Karen Maloney, tell us what you can do for us. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Nick, for bringing us all together so beautifully and so warmly. I'm honored to be here and to be part of this effort. And I want to say that I work for you. I represent the 12th District in Congress, which includes Queensbridge, Ravenswood, and Astoria houses, parts of the East Side, and even parts of Brooklyn. And all of these parts have the same challenges that you have. And nothing happens without leadership. So I want to thank the Justice for All, Stan and Evie and Donnelly and I'm going to leave names out, Ford and all of the other people that have come today, and obviously our state senator Ginaris and everyone who's here today. Now, what I'm hearing is you need more money for the development. Now, the current leader, Trump's, his budget cuts the NYCHA budget federally. I can assure you that a Biden-Harris budget will be better. But when I go back, I'm going to set a mark of funding of $10 billion for NYCHA. And see if we can get that through and have a goal and a plan, as Maya Angelou said. Now, one of the things that I heard today is that Stan is very disappointed with this new model program. And I will confess to you that I created this model program. Because when I work with NYCHA and ask for things to get done, all they do is ask for more money, and I say, why can't you repair things? I can't walk to any development in my district where people don't come up to me and say they've been waiting months and weeks, years, sometimes 3 years to get repairs. Now, $3 billion is not enough, but it's $3 billion. They should be able to repair things, and they're not. So this has got to stop. So I asked for a model program with these 3 developments.
Why are you taking money from the real estate industry?
I don't even know. I hire fundraisers. Go talk to them. Okay?
Why are you taking money from the problem?
From who?
From the real estate industry. You took over $200,000 from them. How are you going to fix the problem?
Well, why don't you listen to me? Okay. All right.
Why should I?
Okay. I have created a model program. Let's see if it works. For 2 months, they are going to decentralize the management to the program. Now, Stan tells me that they're not even in the offices. So on Monday, I'm going to come, and if they're not in the offices, I'm going to work in the office. I'm going to take the complaints, and I'm going to take them right to the chairman of NYCHA and say, why aren't you making repairs? Now, I learned something today by listening to people here, and I didn't even realize it. It's the law now that you can create resident managements, but they're not doing it. So when I go back to Washington, I'm going to introduce a bill that says that if the tenants can show they're not doing a good job, they're not in the office, and they're not repairing, then they don't get their money unless they create a resident management that can do the job. That I can do. That I can make happen. And I will say another thing, that I have another bill and I think is important. It says that if they take any money from a development for taking the roofs that we repaired in some of these developments, they're now selling sun energy, that the money has to come back to the development. Or if they rent parts of the property out, the money has to come back to the development. It can't go to the management or whoever else is out there. So I would say that one of the biggest problems that we have, and I hope you have time to hear from Sandra Coleman and Letitia Taylor, because they live in a development as beautiful as this, right on the water. And the real estate developers have come in and they are taking a playground, trying to take the children's playground and turn it into high-rise luxury development. We're fighting that. We're in court. We're doing all kinds of things. But if we passed a law that said if you took anything out of the development, it has to go right back in the development, then that would stop it. Now, in the federal government, I'm going to be pushing for $11 billion for NYCHA. but you have to also have a plan on the state and the city. So you should ask your state and city council members, assemblymen, senators to come out with what are they going to get from the state and the city to help NYCHA. Because most successful programs in our country are federal, state, and city. And I am going to work with Chandra Coleman and Stan and others that we should come up with a pledge for every person running for office. If you are running for a mayor, that you will not support any effort to take the property and sell the property that belongs to the people. Public property belongs to the public. And I see an organized effort, and it's happening in several developments in Brooklyn and in Manhattan. They haven't come into Queens yet, because they know Stan's here, and he's going to stop them. But anyway, they are trying to take the playgrounds and the open space like this and turn it into high-rise developments. And we have the votes, we have the ability to stop it, and I am willing to work with you to make that happen. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you today.
Thank you, Representative Maloney. We look forward to seeing the work you can do in this new administration. Everyone's watching. All right, so now, but again, the absolute best stories here are those, we've already seen it. They're knocking them out of the park. The tenants are geniuses. I actually feel like almost, I don't know, like, you know, you introduce a tenant, and then I used to think I'm pretty cool, but then the tenant comes up and like, yeah, I'm not that cool by comparison. But I'll keep going because Lakeisha's here. Tell us about it, Lakeisha. Call him out. Oh, now you're over there. Oh yeah, are you cool? You done?
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for showing up. So, there's something I want to read to you. The New York City Housing Authority's mission states, it is to increase opportunities for low and moderate income New Yorkers by providing safe, affordable housing and facilitating access to social and community services. This is a blatant lie. Right now, our buildings are crumbling around us. We have mold, we have outages. Right now, you are telling us that you have gas outages for months. Yeah, well, my elevators don't work, we have infestations, and this is deplorable. Federal dollars are given at $30 million, and NYCHA cannot show what they are doing with it. As we have heard, people are paying their rent, and it goes nowhere. To say it's not fair is ridiculous. I have 2 children, and I cannot say that I treat them fairly because they are different. But this is deplorable. I hear people saying, we want to be treated fairly. I have to show that, you know, they're saying like, I have my rent, I want to be, you know, I graduated from college, and this, that, and the other. I don't have to prove my worth. There's no reason why people are standing here and explaining to anyone why they are worthy. You understand? I am a human being. This is your mission. This is the federal government's mission. And they are failing miserably. NYCHA is failing miserably because they have denied us everything. I shouldn't have to go to the management office and beg for heat or beg you to turn down the heat because my child has asthma from the mold you let grow in my home. Or because you have not fixed the plaster that is falling from my house. Or because you have allowed my sink to crumble and fall. And I should not have to say, but I have graduated college. I have a job. I have done this or I have done that. or because I am brown, you have now allowed my home to deteriorate for over 30 years. And this is why this is going on. No one should have to stand on any stage in Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn, because NYCHA, the federal government, has allowed this to happen.
That's right.
We do not have to explain our worth to anyone because NYCHA, the federal government, has decided to disinvest in our lives because they have decided we are not worthy. I know my worth regardless of the fact that I have a degree or that I am receiving federal assistance or that I am on disability or that I am a bum in the damn street. The fact that I am a human being is the fact that I deserve what I get. If I sign my name on that damn lease, I am living in your development. You are in you. It is your right. It is you have to give me the services. I do not have to qualify for anything other than the fact that it is your responsibility to give me fair housing. I do not have to qualify for anything other than a safe home, which we know NYCHA is not providing. People are dying through this pandemic, and NYCHA is farming out this recovery to other people. They have decided to shut down the MTA at night for cleaning. They found money for that. They have decided to shut down other things and find money for that. Outer space, they send out a rocket, $3 million. They find money for that. There's always money for other things, but NYCHA is crumbling. There's never money for anything. Homeless people. You're putting homeless people out of hotels to put them in another hotel, and you're paying these hotels millions of dollars of our tax money because guess what? NYCHA residents pay taxes too. But that doesn't matter because our homes are crumbling and we feel that we have to stand up somewhere and tell you, I went to college, I have a job,
You're a human.
I'm worthy. No, I know that already. You need to be standing up here and telling us why you are worthy.
Yeah.
You need to define why you feel it's okay to treat us this way. The federal government disinvested in our buildings, in our lives, and continue to tell us that we are worthy, not worthy, when they do not fix our homes. And this is why we need to stand up and band together and learn the correct way to fight them. And that is by suing their asses, holding your money, taking them to court, and making them show us why they are worthy of our coin. Because that's our money. They don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. Because if they did, they wouldn't tell you it's over my head. Because they are quick to tell you your file is going downtown. I'll meet you in court. And when you tell me that, I know the way. I'll meet you there. Tell me the day. I'm not scared. There's no fear in my heart. Absolutely no fear in my heart. I know the way because you have disinvested in my life, in my child's future. Because when you allow me to live in a home with mold, you allow me to ride unsafe elevators, you allow me to live in a building where the roofs are sinking and falling, where the pipes are overheating, where you continue to say, I have no gas, you have no idea, where someone will come and fix it, and you continue to disinvest in my life and my children's lives, you tell me you taking me to court, I know the way. It's not a problem what day, I will meet you right there. We need to organize. We need to unionize. And we need to fight them and tell them, it's okay, I know the way. I will meet you there. Tell me what day. That is the only way in which that we can fight against NYCHA. We need to let the politicians know that we do not appreciate this treatment. And we will fight. And we need to let the federal government know that the only way that this is going to be a better day for us is for the federal government to invest in NYCHA and to put federal dollars in this and fix it. Because that's the only way. So again, NYCHA has many residents, and many residents have died during COVID because of the treatment of NYCHA. They did not clean, they do not clean, and they are not cleaning. So we need federal dollars at the federal level. So we need to attack those politicians and make sure that they're doing their jobs. That is the only way in which that there will be a change. So we have to do it together by uniting and letting them know that we are going to fight this fight. So everyone tell your neighbors that this is the way we're going to do it, by uniting and striking together with our court and letting them know. And when they tell you, I'm going to take you to court, say, it's okay, I know the way. And take your money with you.
Woo! When tenants' rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When tenants' rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back. All right, let's keep it going. All right. Sandra, co-founder of Homes Isaac, co-founder of the One NYCHA channel, the One NYCHA podcast. If you need information, she's the spring of wealth. Sandra.
Yeah.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Remember that. Remember that when they do what they do and what they want to do to the NYCHA residents. Remember, it is us that keeps us safe.
Woo.
I am Sandra Coleman, as he said. I reside in Isaac houses, and I took the ferry over here today to stand with my brothers and sisters in Astoria houses. I'll mention, yes, I am educated as well. I have my master's in divinity. I received that on this year. I am an organizer with UES for BLM on the Upper East Side. Yes, we have a rally and everything every day since June 2nd. So we're in 170-something days fighting for black lives, and that means public housing too. I can also proudly announce today that on yesterday, I am a member of my community board. I was appointed to the new committee, which is called, and I helped name it, the Social Justice Committee at Community Board 8. So, you know, together we can get things done. I have been steadily fighting against privatization since mid-2015 at Holmes Towers. When one suffer, we all suffer. Why are we gathered here today? It is simple. Systemic racism, incompetent leadership, and lack of care of human decency toward residents that reside in public housing. Enough is enough. No heat, no hot water, inoperable elevators, children poisoned with lead, mold, mildew, infestation, and for some, no gas, and so much more. It is as if we are living in a third world country right here in New York City. How is that? One of the richest cities. My queries to NYCHA is, when the hell will you get it right? When can the gas be restored safely to Astoria houses and other developments as well? Why was there no preventive measures and maintenance in place? NYCHA has been ran by incompetent administrators for decades. And it is time that residents not only have a seat at the table, that they are part of the makeup of the NYCHA Executive Board. Y'all have to hear that. I'm talking about somebody here or somebody that can hear this or learn about this. It should be us
making decisions for us. So I demand that the next NYCHA chair under the new administration of 2021 be a NYCHA resident. And to be clear, not one working with elected officials that live in public housing, right? Because they got their ear. We want somebody that has their boots on the ground. We know what we need and what we want. We know that our homes could be preserved properly instead of the patchwork repairs that we receive time after time, which in turn deems another repair in a few months. We know that our homes can be preserved without any form of privatization. The city, state, and federal government must invest back into our dwellings and stop disinvesting into our homes. NYCHA is killing us, providing residents with medical conditions in which they never would have been privy to if they had a landlord who cared instead of a governmental slumlord. The mayor of New York City, the NYCHA chair, and executive staff should all be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law for the living conditions that New York City public housing stakeholders are subject to live under. It is a crime. It is a crime. And the city and state and federal government are harming residents with impunity. They're protected. Why is that? We need to see better governance, and that will happen if we abolish qualified immunity. Also, we must hold these elected officials accountable and vote them out of office if they cannot represent you. Stay strong, continue to fight, rally, and organize because no one will take care of us but us. One NYCHA, one people. One NYCHA, one people. One NYCHA, one people. Come on. One NYCHA, one people. Remain people powered. Remain people powered. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you so much. We've had an amazing, eclectic, inspiring group of speakers. One of the allies in the fight, Jonathan Bailey, a wealth of information, a huge hero. He couldn't make it. He had a scheduling conflict. He had to bounce out. But I want to give a shout out to Jonathan Bailey. Remember the name because he will be here next time. And if anyone can, can explain the fight to everybody, it's him. We have another tenant now. Just came by. We have a translation as well. She'll address us in Spanish with English translation from her daughter. Come on up.
Hola, mi nombre es Delia y yo vivo en el building en el building de 1-04 y pues nada, también vine a apoyar porque necesitamos que arreglen el problema. Tenemos niños, hay ancianos, hay muchas familias que necesitan tener el gas porque pues algo esencial.
So her name is Delia Barrios. She lives in 1-04 and there's many elderly people, children, kids who need the gas to survive, to make food.
Mi esposo está trabajando, tenemos 3 niños, somos 5 en mi casa. Y así como yo necesito el gas, tengo 2 muchachos estudiando y la niña.
So we're a family of 5. Her husband, my dad, he works every single day trying to make money and give us food, but we can't cook, so we have to eat out. It's really expensive to eat out every day. And it's me, my brother, my baby sister, and so now for me, it's not translating anymore. But I'm currently in school, and it's really, really stressful. You know, like the professors are giving like so much like homework and stress, and then they tell us to like take care of our mental health, and then they just assign more work. So I just find that really funny. And then on top of that, I have to like sleep in the night, and it's really, really cold. And then I wake up with a sore throat, and I'm like, oh, do I have corona or something? But it's just because there's no heat. So that's funny too. And like, I know living in the projects, like we're not rich. Like I know that, but just not having heat, seeing all these like construction things, like it just makes me feel like I am poor, and I already know I am, but I don't need to be reminded every single day. It's just the basics. I just love the basics. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening.
Woo! What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now. All right. And one of our other tenants with children who's been fighting the Department of Education. She steps up to the front line, and she always speaks from the heart. Kathy Bladicus?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Queensbridge.
Hello, everyone. I'm a little out of breath playing with my grandson. Okay. I'm Kathy Bladicus. I live in Queensbridge North Houses. My situation is still the same. Me and Stan, we went down to the management office yesterday. Left there with no answers. The front desk gave him names of people I already have. I've already contacted. I've already emailed. I've already complained. Don't even get me started with Miss Lloyd from the Queensborough office, okay? All right, don't get me started with her. You have to tell this lady how to do her J-O-B. I asked her if she knew how to spell that because she cannot take a complaint like she's supposed to do. She was trying to be a mediator. We don't need a mediator. We need answers. You need to do your job like everybody in that management office that's behind that glass window that has Miss Tyson, the receptionist, doing everybody's dirty job in there dealing with the tenants. Miss Richardson in Queensbridge North Houses, my housing assistant, doesn't even want to meet with me. I made an appointment. She's 10 minutes late, steps out, smokes a cigarette, walks back, looking me up and down like I'm somebody in the street like she wants to fight. She goes behind the door. What can I help you with, Miss Bladicus? I said, what? Do you know how to read? Because I CC you on all the emails. Oh, and don't forget, if you have their government name, you have their email address. They do not like giving their name because I found the loophole. You have their name, it's their first name, dot last name at NYC, blah, 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 blah. You have their email. It's everybody, it's a standard email. They are not doing what they are supposed to. I emailed Damian White, another name from Queensbridge North Houses. He is the superintendent. He assessed my apartment. Okay, he knows the other measures that need to be done. I emailed him Monday night. How do you sleep with yourself at night, knowing that I submitted a letter that my daughter came out positive for the mold and the roaches. They already know that she's chronic asthmatic. So how do you sleep with yourself at night? So I just logged into my NYCHA app. I saw a ticket was for Friday morning. You know that you have to rip out the walls and the floor, get behind the walls from the 2 leaks that already happened last year. I have emails from July of 2019. And this is not the first time I'm dealing with this, okay? I live on 10th Street now on the 40th side. My old apartment, The mildew levels were over 16,000 that we were breathing in. I had every single director in there. It was supposed to take 2 weeks. It took 6 weeks. They bumped me and my family and my service dog on 10th Street. I called that the squad apartment. And I went every day to my apartment. They had everything covered up. They did the remediation like they're supposed to do. They have to get into the walls. They have to seal the pipes. Everything was done. When they got into the bathroom, they did the exact same thing, and some dingbat breaks a pipe and floods my apartment. You think I got any compensation for that? Who saved receipts for 7 years? Over 7 years. Didn't get any compensation for that, okay? And, you know, all I got was, oh, you know, here's some organization. I don't need any organizations. I want you. You did the damage. You should be liable and replace everything. No, nothing. Till this day, nothing. So now I'm in my new apartment on 10th Street, and by law, you are allowed to ask for the last year FOIL report. They held with information, the leaks, and, everything else, but only gave me the extermination. They only gave me the extermination report. I have an infestation that is disgusting. Okay? My children, my twins are in a room, and then my older daughter and my grandkids are in another room. Those 2 bedrooms, high levels, once again, submitted my report, didn't do anything. Oh, don't even get me started with the OCC. That is supposed to be the third party that was in the decree of the new Baez lawsuit. They are doing the same shenanigans, and I'll shout out him, Tyler Forbes. He's not doing anything from the OCC because all I hear is, please be patient. How much patience? Does anyone have patience here to give me? Because I know you don't have any patience. I have no more patience, okay? My kids' health is at risk, okay? I have 2 grandkids that are under 10. I asked for my apartment to be inspected for lead. Did I get that? No, I didn't get anything. I don't get anything. You want your rent that I've been holding since July. I want my apartment fixed. I want my apartment fixed. I have my kids and I have my grandkids here. They don't care about anything. They are trained like robots. Well, if that's the case, you can hit a reset button on an electronic, and if it doesn't work, what do? You throw the goddamn shit away, and you get all new staff that is willing to comply and not have these shenanigans and these politics and say, we have no money. Bullshit, you have money. You're putting it in your pockets so you could go home to your lavish houses or apartments that have no problems. We're here 24/7. We are here 24/7. Enough is enough, and something needs to get done. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kathy. And you know, we have tenant after tenant after tenant coming with the stories. This is by design, because these aren't isolated incidents. This isn't the thing that happens to just a few people. It's an army of tenants that all have to deal with the same thing. We have to give them space and hear it. And so one last tenant, one of the most inspirational figures of the community, Sugar Ray, are you walking away? Are you coming up to talk? All right, we'll see you later. Then before we hear from Sugar Ray, let's hear from another community activist, Lorenzo Brea.
Hello, everybody. What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
If we don't get it,
Justice.
if we don't get it,
Justice.
if we don't get it.
Shut it down.
Now, this is a part of shutting it down, but I want everybody to realize that myself, Donnelly, Stan, the entire Justice for All Coalition team, these tenants, Shantae, Lakeisha, Kim, so many more. People are part of this movement of shutting it down, and it doesn't look like what people may traditionally think it looks like coming out in the streets with our poster boards. People are paying rent to not receive the utilities they deserve, have their human rights violated, and so on. Shutting it down is withholding that money and using it to spend on what you need. Kathy just told you about how she has a whole leak in her apartment. You tell NYC, don't come into my apartment, I'm gonna keep my rent money and pay somebody that can do the job. We can take that money that they want for the rent and keep it and pay for electric stoves. As Shantae said, as Kim said, it takes 2 seconds to put in. That's what we need to do. That's what shutting it down means. So if you have any energy to put towards this movement and to put towards this problem, if you can come out here on a Saturday, I need you to direct that energy right to that building right there. Because the ripple effect that happens from that is the tenants get empowered, the people who hear about this wherever, all across the city are dealing with these same issues, and they realize that they can withhold that rent too. We're doing so much more than what we're doing in that building, but you need to have the constant focus of empowering the people. We don't need to be here. Our job should be not to be here, not to have this press event. They should be able to answer these problems by themselves. We had to go door to door several nights telling people, you have the right not to pay that rent. You have the right to take action against a terrible landlord that isn't providing you what you need.
No, you're right.
It's as simple as that. If you're not doing that, if you're not telling people their rights, I'm not sure what you're doing out here. But also, I want to thank Evie and all those people who combine that effort of meeting people where they are, feeding the people, and educating people at the same time. Because I don't need to be here. I know that, say it in Spanish, no pagues la renta hasta que vuelve la gas. It's as simple as that. You don't, look it up in Google Translate. Like, you don't pay the rent until the gas comes back. It should be as simple as that, so I need you guys to continue to remind everybody around you to empower the residents of this building, empower residents everywhere. That's the work that we do. And I want to thank you guys for being a part of this, and I want to thank you guys for being here. Power to the people.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Absolutely. Like he says, it's a ripple effect. And when there's one of our fellow humans who live without their basic needs met, it ripple effects into everybody else's life. And if we want to wake up in the morning and just have a good time in our day and just say, hey, life is fun and worth living, everyone needs their needs met. When one goes without, we all suffer for it. So thanks, Lorenzo, and let's cap it off. There's this next speaker to really close out our afternoon here together. I can't say enough about how motivating, how inspirational, and what kind of a placement is this man's heart is in. If ever we needed someone to give us a bird's eye view on the importance of humanity, on the worth of creating a kind of like a community system, this next speaker does it for us. I'm inspired. I feel like I'm his student, and I'm always in his debt for the amount of information he gives us. Donnelly Rodriguez.
Appreciate you, Nick. Your words are too kind. Straight up, I appreciate you, man. And I know your soul is good when I'm angry as hell about what's going on in Astoria, but still I smile right now off that energy, so I appreciate you. Y'all, so before I get into it, my name is Donnelly Rodriguez. I'm Astoria, thick and thin, been living here my entire life, went to PS 17, went to IS 141, went to Long Island City High School. I'm at the CUNY School of Law now in my final year. I'm about to be an attorney in a couple months. I work with the Justice for All Coalition. I organize with them. I'm part of the Queens Democratic Socialists of America as well. Y'all, it's been 60 fucking days. Sorry for cursing, but I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this nonsense. I'm really sick and tired of this nonsense. I've experienced this firsthand. My mom and I used to live there. My mom still lives there on 9th Street and 27th Avenue in the Bridgeview Towers. Had the same problems. The Section 8 apartment. No heat, didn't have hot water, had tons of mold, and there were instances where they were without gas, right? The way we solved that problem, we organized the tenants, we withheld our rent, and they made the damn repairs. It was that simple. It was that damn simple. And here's the thing, like, you've heard it from the tenants, so I won't go into the details of the living conditions. But here are the facts. NYCHA has breached the warranty of habitability. They have breached their contract to every single tenant that lives in Astoria mansions by failing to repair the gas. And when you fail to repair the gas, you have failed your end of the bargain, and every single tenant has the legal right to withhold their damn rent until they fix the gas. And that is just the facts. That is just the facts. NYCHA cannot retaliate against you, because if they retaliate against you, that is illegal. Because tons of tenants are telling me that they're terrified of withholding their rent because they're afraid that they'll get evicted. But the reality is, you have the legal right within the law. It's called the breach of the warranty of habitability. And when they breach, you have the right to withhold your rent. So what are we going to do? Withhold the damn rent until the damn gas is fixed, period. So now I'm going to speak to the broader issues, right? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why are public housing tenants, why are black and brown public housing tenants experiencing these deplorably inhumane conditions? Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because NYCHA is racist. Why? Because NYCHA is classist. And what that means is, it's more important for them to incentivize the wealthy and the white than it is the black and the poor. That's just the facts. Look around us. Hollis Point Cove, East River Ferry, Radial Park, an infill right there. They're building a brand new building in Astoria houses when there's no gas for 60 plus days at 1-04 Astoria Boulevard. That is racism. That is classism. That says that our city's mayor and our elected officials value private interest over people. What they're incentivizing is the pockets of the wealthy, the real estate developers who fund Hollis Point Cove, who fund the New York City East River Ferry. For who?
Not for us.
For who? How many Astoria Houses residents are using the East River Ferry? How many Astoria Houses residents can afford to live in Hollis Point Cove or even think about living in Hollis Point Cove? How many Astoria Houses residents are going to be able to live in that infill? I don't know any. What our city chooses to invest in dictates what they value. And what they've been investing in is brutalizing our people through police force, as we've seen. What they're investing in is building new jails all around our city, $10 billion, when NYCHA needs $40 billion. They want to call our people criminals and savages. Who are the real criminals? Gregory Russ, the chairman of NYCHA, is the real criminal. Mayor Bill de Blasio is the real criminal for failing to bring the dignified conditions that public housing tenants need. Oh, no, but they like to say we don't have the money. We don't have the money, so we want to privatize NYCHA. They won't say privatize, they'll call it the blueprint, because they think black people are foolish. And they think that blueprint sounds cool because, ho, it's Jay-Z's album. But now you ain't fooling us. There's more than enough money. We have the most billionaires in this city than anywhere else in this country. So what we need to do is tax the damn rich $40 billion and
until we fix every single NYC public housing tenement in this city, period. Tax the rich, to fund the damn police, and fund NYC. Not next year, not next month, not tomorrow, right now. We need $40 billion. We need to fund resident management corporations. We need people to be in the positions of power in their tenements so that they can decide how to live their lives, how to govern their buildings, how to govern their community. That's how we fix it. We need a chairman from NYC. We need democratic resident management corporations and every single public housing tenement in New York City, where they get to decide. They and them alone get to decide how to make the repairs. They are the ones, they are the contractors. It's in the law. They can decide who fixed the building. So put the NYC tenants to work to fix their own buildings. That's how you invest in your community. Because we got the talent, we got the skills, we got the power, we got the knowledge, we got the wisdom. What we need is the resources. Tax the damn rich already. Tax them now. Tax Jeff Bezos, start trying to subsidize him and bring him to LIC with HQ2. Tax that man, he's paying $0. $0 in taxes.
No war but class war.
Straight up. Straight up. So what the problem is that they're too busy pandering to the real estate lobby in this city. They're too busy pandering to the Police Benevolent Association in this city instead of supporting and investing into the people. And until they do that, we will hit the streets, we will hit the pavement, we will organize, we will demonstrate, we will civilly disobey, we will continue to implore the tactics of organized working class black and brown people, because that is what's going to lead to our liberation. That's what's going to lead to the gas being restored in Astoria houses. And that's how we create power through community. And if we don't get it, and if we don't get it, and I'll lastly leave y'all with this. And surprisingly, Carolyn's not here. Surprisingly, Mike is not here. Right? Straight up. Because this is the reality. They've been the ones who've been apathetic and implementing the policies that have led to this egregious nonsense. They are the ones who've been in office for years, while our city, my neighborhood, Astoria, has been gentrified into oblivion. I'm holding on for dear life to live in the hood that I grew up in. Investing in my people every single day with my brother Sugar, with my brother Stan, my brother Jared, sister Jasmine, sister Yadira. Every single day putting in the work. And now all of a sudden, they're on the front lines. That's because we're doing the work. That's because we're doing the work. And now they scared because we about to come take their seats. Now they scared and they want to pander and play to the winds because the winds are pushing towards the people. We're pushing the winds. We all have pressure. Straight up. So it's over for that. Y'all were apathetic, and now y'all want to do something. Y'all were more than apathetic. Y'all were pushing the real estate lobby in this city. Michelle called Carolyn out. Thank you for that. 200,000 from real estate? How are you going to be accountable to the people in Astoria houses when you're taking 200 grand from real estate?
You called for privatization too.
Riddle me that. Riddle me that. How? You
can't be accountable to people when your campaigns are being funded by the very people who are building Hallett's Point Cove, from the very people who want to put the ferry by Astoria houses. They could have put the ferry there years ago, but now they want to put it because it's lucrative for the developers, not for the people here. And they like to scapegoat our people and bring us to their press conferences and be like, this is great for our community, and it is great for our community, right? But it wasn't for our community in the first place. And we need to recognize that, and we need to call them on their crap. Can't be fooled anymore. Let's keep pushing them, right? Hold the feet to their fire, call them out while we continue to build, because we can't depend on them. We depend on us, because we keep us safe. And I'm gonna leave it at that. All power to the people, y'all. All power to the people, y'all. All power to the people, y'all. All power to the people. Yeah, and one more plug tonight. 8 p.m., Queensbridge houses, 41st Avenue, 10th Street. We building from the ground up. Freestyle, spoken word, ciphers. Come through, pull out. If you're an artist, come through. If you're not an artist, come through. If you care about community, come through. We outside.
Mentor, teacher, leader, Donnelly Rodriguez. And if we want to hear a sense of mindfulness, what is compassion, what is empathy, who speaks from the heart, and who builds community out of love for their community, look no further than Sugar Ray. Yeah. Appreciate it, man.
Peace. So I got a solution that we can implement in like 60 seconds maybe. Y'all want to hear it? Yeah. Overthrow the fucking nature. If we overthrow this shit and took the positions, then we wouldn't have this issue. Right? So like Donnelly mentioned, stop pandering to the elected officials. Like they haven't done anything. Right? Like, and when the resident says, let's bring Carol Maloney, like, I get resident, but challenge them. Say for what? Say for what? Like, residents get what they want, but sometimes we're misled in the hood. I was misled as a young black man in the hood, right? Watching TV and Law and Order, you think the politicians are good, and you grow up and say, yeah, I want to rub shows with the politicians. And then you realize that they ain't shit. And so you say, F them and leave them where they at. Right? But literally, like, the people here today, we are the power. If we literally said we're not paying rent, if we literally said we are occupying these offices that these people work at, if we literally went in the office and became the management, the issue would be solved. So I'm frustrated with the fact that we keep believing in this shit. That's my frustration, is that we keep thinking that they're gonna do it. Like, come on, we've been hoodwinked and bamboozled enough. It's time to say, you know what, F them, we don't need them, right? They got the money, but they don't want to give it. Let's fund this shit ourselves, and then it's ours. Get the residents to invest money, $10, $5, $1, all across the city. Get our athletes, right? Get the people who care, right? And then we take the shit over. Simple as that. Donnelly can figure out legally what we need to do, right? To make it ours, to relinquish the power from New York City Housing Authority, because they have been a slumlord and they've breached every commitment legally that they were supposed to uphold. So like, why are we still waiting? Like, it's our problem. Like we are the problem. We going around in fucking circles like dogs chasing our fucking tail, asking them to do the shit they ain't do in fucking forever. And they ain't gonna do it. They have it and they won't. So why do we keep asking them for? Why we keep, just take the shit over. God damn it, people are dying. People are dying and we still asking. We playing the game and they playing with us, and so we the problem. I'm gonna look at us and say, why the fuck you keep asking them this shit? They ain't do it yet. Damn. No gas for 60 goddamn days to cook. Shit is insane. So we have to look at ourselves and say, how crazy are we to keep doing the same shit expecting a different goddamn result? It's fucking insanity. Thank you. Come on, man. It's not rocket science. Where the fuck is the issue? Go fix it. It's people qualified in the city. Get the money, Donnelly. We can raise the money. We can raise the money. We can pay some people from the neighborhood to go fix the damn shit and then say, now y'all can't come here and we occupying this shit. Fuck your law. Fuck your police. It's our shit. And if they come and we stand strong, there's nothing they can do. We all got the Spirit of God in us, so let's act like it, God damn it. Serve ourselves, feed ourselves, liberate our goddamn selves. Simple as that. So like, until we're ready to do that, I got nothing else to say.
Yeah. Thank you, Sugar Ray. Thank you. So that's a list of speakers, a testament from the neighborhood, a chronicling of what our human species has resulted in. It can be fixed. It can be turned around. Thankfully, we have compassionate humans who would come out and listen. But it doesn't end here. It has to continue with organization and movement. And if we keep building upon, we use momentum and we keep building upon each event, things can materialize and get done. Shante, we're going to close it off. Why don't you come here and give us a good send-off?
How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? We brought it to the stage. Let's keep it going on the stage. We're going to close out now. I'm thanking everybody for coming out, spending their time with us. It really matters a lot. I don't want you to think we're taking anything for granted, because when you woke up this morning, you made it your mission to be here today. So we thank you for that. I want to extend a huge thank you to Radial Park for providing the space and giving us a platform. And I'm sure we're going to have other future events here in the present and the future. So I just thank you all for coming out. And I just wanted to share a little bit of poetry with you, if that's okay, because I feel like poetry just opens up the soul. It opens up the heart. And it's the poor, the old, the rich, the young. It affects us all as one. So I just wanted to end with that. And as I stated before, I always perform with these pants because this person here can no longer speak anymore because he's dead. He was just doing his job, as I stated before. His name is Dana Blake. May his soul rest in peace. I keep his vision alive because he was an artist. He made these pants for me when I was like 14 years old. So I was very young at the time. And like I said, he was killed in a nightclub just for doing his job with, when the smoking ban law had passed back in April of 2003, he was just trying to prevent people from smoking in the club. And two guys just stabbed him in the abdomen and killed him. So the reason why I do what I do through poetry as a spoken word artist, your voice is your first tool. That's your power. And as I stated before, if everybody could just put the two peace signs up, put your deuces up, we're one as one community. We're here together as a unified collective to make a difference. The gas outages is the reason why we're here. We're not getting the proper information we need from NYCHA, and we just want them to stand with us together on this issue. I don't think that's too hard for them to understand, but it just seems like the communication has been dropped. So we have to keep our voices alive. And as I said before, to my right, your left, this building right here where I live, where I reside, Astoria houses, look at the building, please. I'm putting emphasis on this building because we stand with this building together because they're going through the issue. And I'm going through it right with them. The 48 apartments in this building, as you can see, the windows, it's 6 floors, 1 through 6. Gas has been out since September 22nd. I don't know where else to go from that. That's just too long. 60 days, and we're still waiting for the vendors to come back to rebuild the pipes, take the old pipes out, and just do what they have to do. But I don't understand why it's taking so long. We're going through asbestos abatements now on the E line in this building. Why is it taking so long? Only NYCHA can answer those questions. And like I said before, the floor-to-floor meetings is not going to help us. We need to stand together like we used to when we were having lobby meetings and really getting the answers that we needed from housing. But no, they have failed us. So we're going to take our voices and keep our voices alive. And I just wanted to end with a few quotes here. It says, "You are the greatest force in the universe." I'm speaking to all the people here who have a heart. You are the greatest force in the universe. Utilize that purpose. Keep helping others. What you put into the universe will return back to you tenfold. I guarantee you on that. I have another quote here. "You should never be voiceless. You should always use your voice as a tool. Your voice is your first power. You have to speak for what is right." Excuse me. This is what happens when you have a whole lot to say and you're just disorganized. Okay? This quote was given to me when I first started out at Hunter College. And you know what it said? This is what it said. It was coming from a dear friend, a tutor. And she said, "It's so easy to lose passion in today's world. Tell me why you lost yours. The field needs you and your voice and your energy and your perspective. Tell me why you're so tired. Tell me why you lost your voice." And I was going through a struggle in my life at the time of not completing graduate school. But I feel like social work is always going to be a part of me. I do have my degree, my bachelor's degree, but I feel like social work is always going to be a part of me because I am that living proof. I'm a part of that 88% that survived living in poverty. I survived. I made a way for myself through higher education, and I am encouraging every young individual out here today, even adults that still have goals and dreams, go for it. Go for it. Only you are stopping you. What voice are you listening to? Try to listen to your own voice, your inner voice, and just let that candle inside of you glow. Because you never know. You could be enlightening somebody's day that's having a hard day. You just never know. Our words is so important, and that's why I choose to continue being a poet, because it just makes me feel good. It just instills that energy to just take it out into the universe and share it with others. That's what we're really all here for, is to share with others and network. Networking is such a good feeling. I'm so happy I met the people from Justice for All Coalition and their team, like Donnelly and Lorenzo, Astoria Mutual Aid. We have come together as one, and I don't think we've known each other for a long time. I feel like I've known these people here for long periods of time, and I feel like they're going to be around for us. They really are. I feel that. So energy is one thing. You could feel that energy when you feel somebody with you. Like we were speaking about the elected officials before. You can feel the energy when you feel somebody is on your side. And I feel that we stand here together for this building here and Building 5, who has gas outages as well. We're standing together as one. Okay? And I just wanted to share some more poetry with you. It's real deep.
Make sure you bring them to Queensbridge tonight.
I'm going to do that. I'm taking advantage of the stage. All right, it says, "I had an itch to write a message for every man and every woman. Drip, drip, can you help me find it? I said, drip, drip, can you help me find it? My passion, that is, painting the world with my voice through poetry. Poor, old, even the rich and young, that's what poetry represents. To not be afraid, like Sonia Sanchez said. We're never afraid. We can't be afraid. We break the silence for the voices that have been stolen. Astoria houses, better known as the projects. I reside as a powerful young black woman." Woo! It's deep. It gets deep. It gets deep. And I just want to close with this. Please, let me close with this. This is an excerpt from, this is something I wrote a long time ago. And it says, it's about painting the world with my voice, right? And it says, "Astoria houses, better known as the projects. Astoria mansion. I reside as a violated young black woman. Keep the weak in jail. My brother baby boy is a lost soul dancing to the white man's rules. From his D-block cell he writes, wanting freedom is a crime, but for all I ever wanted was for my smile to shine. Strip search, no privacy. My Lord said there would be trials and tribulations. Being black hurts. Jump out of my skin quick before this baby boy bursts. I do not want to be a part of this belly of the beast anymore. Astoria houses, better known as the projects. I reside as a violated young black woman. Strike a match, I hear. Dana Blake. Strike a match, I hear. Take another pull. At a club feeling good. Created a smoke ban, and what's that supposed to do? Dana Blake loses his life to yet another fool. I'm suffocated by the smoke he tried so hard to enforce. Left up in the air. Daily News, El Dadio, The Post, posted his pic with no real name while his death was taken in vain. Another day, another dollar, another dream deferred. Just another black Negro in the ghetto. Dana Blake, that's his name. A rose without petals. Astoria houses, better known as the projects. I reside as a violated young black woman. My mother, a dominant queen, whose work is never done. Sorry, Miss Austin, we want to cause you pain and stress. A budget of $68 to cover rent, food, and utilities. I don't think y'all hear me. A budget of $68 to cover rent, food, and utilities. Now that's what I call courage. I watch my mother cry. Diamond shaped tears as the bills piled up high. As the Twin Towers once stood. Right here. Right here. We living on a milestone, ladies and gentlemen. Mama used her welfare card today to buy a loaf of bread and a can of pork beans just to heal our tummies. Now that's what I call courage. Astoria houses, better known as the projects. I reside as a violated young black woman. No more would I let my voice box be shattered. Everybody do a square for me real quick. Just do a square. Do a square like this. Yes. No more would I let my voice box, that's your voice box, be shattered. I'm sharing my faith and my power with you. No more will I let my voice box, do the square, peace signs up, be shattered by the truth. No longer will the cramped walls of apartment 1B keep me silent. No longer will the songs comprise the bullets and shots be my music. No longer will my voice be shattered by the fear of others. Astoria houses, better known as the projects. I reside as a powerful young black woman. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Radio Park!
Thank you, Shantae, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, Radio Park. You let us camp out. Please, I hope you were listening. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Thanks for listening, showing compassion, and let's just keep building, and we'll do it even bigger next time. Peace.
Hey, guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to speak with a few people here that we spoke with. Jordan and I were here. Hey, Stan, can I talk to you for a minute? So Jordan and I were here. Hold on, let me just set this up here. Okay. Right, hold on. Let me get this microphone on.
Happy to be here. I'm glad y'all came through. I think you can. Yeah, I will. Absolutely.
It's good?
Yeah,
It's good?
Show at 7 and then we're going to have a little fast friends and family thing if you want to hang out.
All right, I hope everyone can hear me well. We are here in Astoria, Queens. I'm going to speak with Stan, right? Stan, Jordan and I were here about 30 days ago. We were in front of the building. What was it, 01-4? Yeah. Now, that's not the only building that's facing this issue. There are other buildings in this area. But just brief me. Last time we were here was about 30 days ago. What has changed since we were last here and we last spoke to you?
Actually, nothing. Actually, nothing has changed. You have a couple of nicer representatives that have come during that time and knocked on doors, like Shantae said, and had these hallway meetings. You know, but I was at these hallway meetings, and they actually gave no information at all. You know, so now these residents to this very day have no idea when the gas is going to come on, when the issue is going to be resolved. You know, and when they knocked on the doors that day, they said they were coming to give information about the gas, but then they started talking about asbestos. You know, so it was like very confusing. And the tenants were like, "What are you really here for? You don't have any information. Why are you knocking on my door?"
Yeah, last time you told us that they were doing inspections. That was for the asbestos, not for the...
But not for the gas, you know, and that's the issue. And they try to connect the two, and I'm not a contractor, and neither are these residents, you know, so you are expecting them to really understand what you're saying when you come with information is really not complete, and then they leave. And that's a continuous problem, not just with this gas issue, but with all the repair issues. Whenever you knock on the door or go into the manager's office and ask somebody to be accountable for what's going on, no one ever is. I mean, they literally hide behind the glass and won't come out, you know, and that's the way they treat these tenants, you know, with no respect, and expect them to go through this suffering and don't even know when it's going to end. In the middle of the holidays, you know, they can't cook for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and we'll probably be out into next month, into next year. It's unconscionable.
Absolutely no time frame.
No time frame at all. Absolutely not.
Now, I know nobody, you know, they called out a few NYCHA officials. But what about Mayor de Blasio? What about Cuomo? You know, what about AOC, Jumaane Williams? These are big advocates for the public. Now, where are they?
Well, I got to say for Jumaane, definitely disappointed. You know, you the public advocate, you know, and I have not seen Jumaane really at any of these rallies anywhere at all. And I speak to people in his staff, and he's not come out yet publicly. Are you for privatization or are you not? It's like a real simple question. And how could you be the public advocate and represent NYCHA residents and not have an answer to that basic question, which is affecting their entire lives? You know, so I'm disappointed. He said he was going to be an organizer, not an elected official. From what I've seen, he's become an elected official and a politician and not an organizer. And when it comes for de Blasio and the mayor and the governor, you know, they know what's going on. They're the ones also putting out lies. I know they're not cleaning these developments. So you can put anything you want on your website, and you can have de Blasio go on, have a press conference in the morning, like, and the governor do the same. Don't even mention NYCHA at all during all of those press conferences when COVID was really raging, you know, while these people died, you know, and now it's coming back again. And these buildings are still not being cleaned. You can walk in that building now. They cleaned it up a little bit after we put some pressure, but I came here 4 weeks in a row, and it looked the very same. The same garbage, the same filth in the staircase was there 3 weeks in a row. So how are you cleaning, you know, and this pandemic is raging, you know, so I don't care. De Blasio and Cuomo, you're guilty. The blood's on your hand as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
The last time we were here, you actually had to clean up yourself the front of the building.
Right, and that was amazing. While you had NYCHA workers in a truck. So here we are picking up garbage. The NYCHA workers then came and took the garbage bags and put them in their little truck and drove away. So what is that? I mean, what are you getting paid for? You sat in your car the whole entire time, and that's I guess a symbol of how people are treated. You know, they treated like we don't care about you. You can live in garbage, you can live in trash. We're gonna go home to our little houses and leave you here, and that's how people feel, and that's exactly what they show on a regular basis.
It's really unfortunate. It's really disgusting. I would like to speak with a few tenants here. Do you have anybody?
Kim, before you go, Kim, can you have speak? Yeah, Kimberly's one of the tenants that's done a tremendous job. Kimberly and Shantae has been amazing in organizing these tenants and making them feel encouraged and not afraid to fight back. So she got some words to say.
Okay.
Hey, Kim.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So, hold on 1 second. So, Kim, I know you briefly spoke about what it's like living without the gas, having to cook 3 meals for I don't know how many family members.
We become 7. We become 7 during the week.
And just run me through your day. What it's like, how long it takes to cook each meal, and how, with the winter coming.
Okay. At this point, to make breakfast, it takes about, I'm going to say 3 hours. I have a 5-month-old I have a 3-year-old, I have an 8-year-old, I have a 20-year-old special needs daughter, and I have another daughter that's upstairs right now. So it takes about 3 to 4 hours to do a breakfast. And I'm so grateful on Mondays and Fridays that we have an organization that brings us breakfast. I'm just so grateful for that. Now, as for the heat, and I'm sorry, can I take this off? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. As for the heat, last week we were freezing. They came to the apartment with a thermometer, taking the temperature of the rooms, never touching pipes to see how cold it was. So at this point I said, is that what housing's doing? We need a plan for housing because it's freezing outside and it's freezing in here. So I made up a little plan, and I don't want to mention it because we may have to use it. Okay. As for the people who have been tirelessly helping us, organizing, feeding us, I do want to thank them. We couldn't do this without you. I mean, I'm trying not to cry right now. I'm sorry. I don't know where we would be without them. I don't know where we would be at this point.
I mean, it's tough. I can't imagine what you're going through. And then,
but then to be going through a pandemic, to have your own personal issues going on, is a whole nother story. Because your stuff never stops. You're always doing something. I mean, it got to a point where I was exhausted. I fell asleep in my girlfriend's house just sitting down. I was so tired. I mean, you give us one burner, we can cook one pot, so we boil water for the rice, but then we have to wait to cook the meat. Or you cook the meat, and then you have to wait to cook the sides. So it's not a good fit. You have to start cooking. You're cooking every day, all day, just to cook. Nevertheless, cleaning, you have to do homework, Zoom sessions. It's crazy, you know. So I don't know. Housing needs to more understand, communicate effectively. I was asking for no money from housing when I asked about the electric stoves. The tenants would have paid for the stoves. No money, and there is still no answer. So at this point, I'm just really frustrated with everything that's going on.
how are the kids adapting to the situation?
The kids are not adapting. The kids are not adapting. I mean, to a point where, you go through, you say, okay, well, listen, I can give you some cereal real quick. They want a hot meal. They want a hot meal before they go spend hours on Zoom. Then you have to make the breakfast. By the way, lunch is right behind it because you have to start preparing it in order to have it there on time for their lunch breaks from school. So then you say, okay, well, now it's snack time, so now you have to get snack together. And then, oh my God, here comes dinner. So it's just really difficult.
They never offered 2 burners for...
They say 2 burners are fire hazard. However, half of us bought toaster ovens, we bought microwaves, we bought crock pots, we bought rice cookers. I mean, everything electric that you can plug in. My house is working on 7 pieces of electrics. I mean, to boil water, I have a pot to boil water in that I plug into the wall. I have something else that I have a toaster oven, a microwave. I have the crock pots upstairs. Everything is cooking. The rice cooker, everything cooks at one time. So you're telling me that an electric stove will pull more energy than everything I have plugged up upstairs? No. And at this point, Russ knows about it. Russ is the chair for New York City Housing, and he talked about the future. But we need it now. Like we were saying, there's a lot of developments without gas. You can have 48 electric stoves after you fix the gas. You can give those electric stoves to a different development that's having the same problem. It's a win-win. It's just a win-win situation.
Yeah, I mean, how many times does this happen?
Well, I know it happened to a different building 22, I think 2 years ago. They went down. And we did our best to try to, maneuver them and try to get them what they needed. But electric stove was just solved the whole problem. We're not asking you for any money. You say you don't have any. We're not asking you for money. We're asking to take our rent, for you to go pick out the electric stove at PC Richards, and just tell us what to go buy. Thank you.
Thank
yes.
You, thank you very much, and I wish you best of luck with everything. Thank you. Hey guys, all right. So we're still here. A few more people are still gathering here. If you did not hit the like button, please hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers. We're working our way up there. I'm going to talk to Shantae. Let's see if we have a moment. She was really outspoken. Shantae, right? Can we, do you want to talk? Yeah. Okay. Also, guys, if you're not a member of Status Coup, please join, become a member. All right. Let's see who we got in here. All right. Yeah, 60 days without gas. 60 days. Think of how much money they could have saved. No, a lot of people are dining out, ordering out, ordering delivery. What's that?
Is that a cop?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's a private event.
They dragged you in.
They dragged me down.
All right, guys, 1 second. They're just going to take a group photo, and then we'll speak to Shantae.
Shantae, I gotta go upstairs.
I'm coming. Come, darling. You're in this too.
All right. I got a nice group photo going here.
Shana K, can you get the sister behind you?
Come on the stage. Ashley. Hello, young
Venga.
On the count of three, everybody say superstars. 1, 2, 3. Superstars. All right.
One more fist up. Left fist.
I gotta jump here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank y'all.
Thank everybody. Thank everybody. Thank y'all for coming out.
Absolutely.
Radio, up, you up.
I seen when you was talking, you was looking at your last name. Eat it. I was dying like,
All right, guys. I know Shantae is a little occupied right now. Let's see if she'll have some time. She's speaking with somebody right now. All right. Well, she's really busy right now, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. Again, we're in Astoria, Queens, where the Astoria houses, a few buildings actually without gas, haven't been able to cook or no heat. All right, we'll be following up on this story. It's been 60 days. I'm sure it will be going longer. Hopefully not much longer, but we'll be following up here. All right, thank you for tuning in, and take care.